if you only let me try.
33-year-old Nicholas David captivated the country when he was a runner-up in a nationally televised singing competition.
If you only let me say goodbye.
This unconventional performer from St. Paul has deep spiritual beliefs that guide his life. When he heard that a Minnesota charity called Smile Network was going to Mexico to help severely deformed kids, he was overwhelmed.
It just like blew my heart wide open.
Throughout the Third World, tens of thousands of children are born every year with cleft lips and palates. Their future is dim. Those who are not left to die at birth face a life of misery, unless they are among the few lucky ones reached by volunteers like Nicholas David and surgeons like Bob Wood.
In Minneapolis, I will see about one new baby a week.
Here in Mexico, Dr. Wood will fix 10 cleft lips a day, a tiny fraction of the scores who show up at the hospital. For these poor families, the experience is a trail of tears. They weep as their babies are taken into surgery and cry with joy when they see the amazing changes in their faces. The work of these volunteers alters the lives of these children and their families forever. But they are not the only lives that are changed.
The giver becomes the receiver, and I get so much more back from this work than I give.
I'm Jason Davis in Puebla, Mexico, where we've come to see how lives can be changed by smiles from Minnesota. Puebla, with a population approaching 2 million, is Mexico's fourth largest city. It looks like a prosperous place, but there's a lot of poverty in this part of the world. Like the house we found about 2 hours north of town. It's nothing more than an unfinished, windowless cell built of concrete blocks.
Hello, good morning.
To this cheerless place have come a couple of people from Minnesota. Kim Valentini, founder of a non-profit called Smile Network, and Nicholas David, a nationally popular singer and songwriter from St. Paul.
They need to move to another place.
Okay.
So it's not sure they can stay here.
This is just the temporary home of 23-year-old Juventino Santa Barbara, his 19-year-old wife Dulce Victoria Torres, and their two children, 3-year-old Yasmin and 7-month-old Angel. The family is completely destitute. They own nothing more than the clothes on their backs, so coming up with the money to fix Angel's cleft lip is an impossibility. Kids in this part of the world born with deformities like this are often condemned to a lifetime of ridicule and shunned by society. But on this day, there's hope for this child, a promise that his lip will soon be repaired.
They don't know how to thank for what you're doing for them.
It's our pleasure.
Es un placer para ellos. They just hope you can help them. Te están ayudando, te van a ayudar.
It's okay. It's okay. We're going to take really good care of Angel. Not to worry. Tell Mom not to worry.
More than 10 years ago, Kim Valentini quit the corporate world to lead teams of volunteers to third world countries to fix as many cleft lips and palates as time and money will allow. Smile Network has been to central Mexico before, but this is a brand new experience for Nicholas David.
You read about it, see it in documentaries, but to experience it firsthand with my feet on the ground, I've never seen anything like it. They have so little like material stuff, but it seems like they have so much hope and so much appreciation and so much gratitude.
Early the next morning, a major hospital in Puebla is crowded with anxious families clutching babies with beautiful faces marred only by a quirk of nature. Their families have barely enough money to pay for food, let alone expensive medical treatment.
Just jump in, we'll get your bag there. Moving towards the taxi.
Just a couple of miles away, Kim Valentini is leading a group of volunteer doctors, nurses and aides who are on their way to help as many kids with cleft lips as they can.
The auditorium is full, I'm told, of families, and they're still coming in.
This effort by the Smile Network will perform surgery on as many children and some adults as they can in 10 days. These volunteers have given up their time and gone to some expense to be here to help. An easy thing to do, considering the payoff.
These are the lives that we're going to change this week.
Not all the patients who show up at this initial screening will be lucky enough to get the free surgery. How much money would it cost a mother to have a child's cleft lip and palate fixed?
I think like 100,000.
That's over $7,500 US, more than these families might earn in years. But at this clinic, it's not a question of money. This young mother's 8-week-old baby is simply too undernourished to survive surgery because, like many kids with a cleft lip, she also has a cleft palate, a hole in the roof of her mouth.
A lot of the milk that she drinks gets out through her nose.
Will you explain to Mom that she knows that we're not going to do the surgery this time?
It's a crushing blow to the child's mother, but Kim Valentini tries to console her with a promise that the Smile Network will be back.
I will keep my promise. I want you to see you back next year, okay?
39-year-old attorney Alejandro Tejido Briones is an unusual case. His cleft lip had been repaired years before, but he said the hole in the roof of his mouth has made his life miserable.
He just talked about how painful it has been. How painful it's been to live with this condition.
I want to ask you to help me. I don't want to look like this. It's been 39 years. I had severe humiliation and I have been hurt so much. I don't have money to pay a surgery and I want to look good. Help me, please. Alejandro Tejeda.
But there are simply too many babies in greater need, and a heartbroken Alejandro is told he can't be helped. Only 1 out of 3 of the people who come here will leave here with a new smile.
We'll do a child before we do an adult, and we'll do the people that come from a further distance first versus the people that live locally.
Jimena Sofia is only 3 months old. Born with a cleft lip and palate, her mouth and nose are severely disfigured. But her mother has brought her to the right place.
And that in the space of about 45 minutes, the surgeons are going to be able to pull that all together and make it perfect.
4-month-old Juan Vasquez de la Cruz, also a good candidate for surgery.
What was the reaction of Mom when she learned that Juan was being born with a cleft lip?
Juan's mother Maribel wept as she struggled to put into words the agony of seeing her child's otherwise beautiful face so deformed. But a promise by Kim Valentini results in tears of joy.
Would you tell Mom that this is something really easy for us to fix and that we will send Juan home with a new smile?
It's been a long, difficult day for everyone and a real eye-opener for Minnesota musician Nicholas David.
Somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly.
I'm reminded of my own kids, so that was like I was fighting back tears from even the second we set foot in here.
Why and why can't I?
It's really amazing to be a part of. I'm an honor to be a part of it.
Major obstacles have been overcome and the lucky ones have made it to the next all-important step. About an hour of surgery that will change their faces and their lives forever. Many of these families have traveled for miles, either on foot or in a crowded bus. They bring with them their children who were born with cleft lips and palates, and they bring with them hopes of a brighter future. Somehow they've heard that a team of volunteers are in town to provide free surgery for their kids, and this might be the only opportunity to get the help they need.
It's just after 6 a.m. on what might be one of the most important days in these children's lives. It's going to be a long day with amazing results. Among the volunteers is Nicholas David, a singer and songwriter from St. Paul, a compassionate guy who's known around here
as the ambassador of love.
I'm coming in for a double.
Nick is here to help wherever he can and to see for himself how these kids' faces are reconstructed in the operating room.
Okay.
One by one, the children are prepared for surgery. Grace Belvedere Young from Minneapolis dresses each infant in donated robes and blankets, something she does for the sheer joy of it.
Because you've helped someone, that they're going to have a full and rich life.
It's going to be a busy day for another volunteer, Surgeon Bob Wood of Gillette Children's Hospital in St. Paul, one of the top craniofacial specialists in the United States.
In Minneapolis, I will see about one new baby a week. Essentially 100% are repaired in the United States.
Over the next few days, Bob Wood will operate on about 40 children. Under his skillful hands, 5-month-old Emmanuel's birth defects are erased, a procedure that amazes Nicholas David.
There's a little child, and one day that child will be a man. And just to think like there's even more possibility, even more potential than what was already there.
About an hour later, little Emmanuel is returned to his mother, Hasuri, a touching moment for everyone involved.
And I want to thank you very much for the opportunity that you give my grandson to have a new life. She said that when he saw him, it's like when if he was born again.
Now it's Angel's turn.
I don't know if they get more beautiful than this little
Hey,
boy.
sweetheart.
Nicholas is going to be carrying Angel into surgery, and Nicholas will stay with him throughout the entire surgery.
The young couple take a last look at the familiar face of their child before monumental changes take place.
Hey, you've got some precious cargo there. Big responsibility, Nicholas.
He heads for the operating theater in the arms of Nicholas David. The tiny, dark-haired little baby with the big black eyes is amazingly quiet.
He's got really good spirit. He's a really positive dude.
As Angel lies on the operating table, Dr. Wood explains why he was born with a cleft lip.
What happens, it's a failure of what's called mesoderm to migrate into the face. And mesoderm is the stuff that makes muscle, bone, nerves, all the stuff kind of inside your skin.
Unfortunately, most of these kids not only have deformed lips, but also a hole in the roof of their mouth called a cleft palate. Special teats are used to close the opening when they feed, but not all mothers have them. Although this defect can severely impact the child's nutrition, it's not the #1 priority for these parents who just want their kids to look normal.
If you look at mission trips, the lips are always done first.
Yes, because it's the instant gratification.
Correct. Probably all the palate should be done first.
After more than an hour of cutting and stitching, little Angel's face is rearranged to the surgeon's satisfaction.
It's like this fresh blanket of snow. It's just like, it erases all the other tracks. Like, look at, like, I mean, you know, we just saw him.
You can already see a dramatic difference.
You can too, right? Precious, precious cargo.
Nicholas David is overwhelmed with emotion as he carried Angel back from the recovery room to his anxious parents. What a moment for these young parents and this musician from St. Paul. And another triumph for Kim Valentini, who made it all happen.
No words to describe it. Words don't even touch it.
But there are many more families waiting for the same miracle.
You changed a life today.
You did.
Good job.
That's awesome.
We got to go back and do it again.
All right.
All right.
Wow.
You okay? Do we have to put you back together?
Right? A little bit.
As As they wait anxiously to find out if their precious infants with cleft lips will qualify for free surgery, a bearded, long-haired guy in a hat plays the piano to soften the stress. Twin Cities musician Nicholas David is one of nearly 30 volunteers from the Minnesota-based Smile Network who have come to Puebla, Mexico on a mission.
Do what we can do and actually do what we say we're going to do. I think we can change the world.
The Smile Network volunteers are here to change these children's lives dramatically and irrevocably. The infants are too young to understand that this could be one of the most important days of their lives.
It is a cosmetic surgery, but it's so much more than that, and it's what allows them to be a part of everyday life and to fit in.
The parents know all too well what is at stake.
He's such a beautiful little boy, and we're going to be able to create a beautiful new smile for him.
Sure enough, just a few hours later, 4-month-old Juan Vasquez de la Cruz is transformed. He's totally unaware, but his world has changed, as it has for all these kids who spend a few hours in a recovery ward before they head home to towns and villages throughout this part of Mexico.
Come back and see us next November if your children need additional surgeries.
As they get their things together and leave the hospital, each family is given a bag of gifts from Minnesota: blankets, toys, food, and even diapers. Welcome help for families like Angel's parents, Juventino and Dulce, who now face a long walk and an even longer bus ride back to their home in the hills. But before they leave, they have a chance to say thank you to the woman who's made their happiness possible.
All he can give you is a hug. May God bless you now and forever.
Angel's family have one last surprise. In honor of this momentous time in their lives, they've added another name for their son.
They are naming Angel Valentini.
It's been a hectic couple of days filled with fear, doubt, and joy. This family, like so many the Smile Network has helped in more than 10 years, will be eternally grateful for what this group from Minnesota has done for them.
Adios. Adios.
No one knows if they'll meet again, but one thing is for sure. Now, there's a young Mexican growing up with a new smile and an Italian name, Valentini. Nicholas David, singer-songwriter from St. Paul, has given up a few days of his busy life to help poor Mexican kids with cleft lips. This experience has a profound emotional effect on everyone who takes part. Nicholas is so moved, he started to write a new song.
I've been to many towns, looked into many eyes.
I truly do feel like I'm here to serve, and that's my job.
Most of the night, though I'm away, you're still with me. You're in everything I see. You're in my heart and the air I breathe. Forever, it's you and me.
It has been a life-changing experience for everyone involved. The surgery improves the possibilities for the kids beyond measure, and the lives of the volunteers will never be the same.
The return on investment is love and knowing that you've made a difference in the world.
You're the one so beautiful to me. You are so beautiful to me. Can you see, yeah, everything I hope for, yeah, everything I need, 'cause you are so beautiful to me.
By the time the volunteers and medical staff from Minnesota leave this Mexican city, they'll have changed the lives of dozens of families. But they'll be back because there'll always be a need. I'm Jason Davis in Puebla, Mexico. Drive carefully, and we'll see you next week.